What's going on? It's your boy Larry Philly Carter. You can catch up with me at Mr. Carter ATL on Instagram, or you can follow my blog on YouTube, Philly World. Make sure you, while you're on Instagram, follow Culture Clubb ATL. All right, I'll see you there.
Affect policy, you usually hit them in their wallet. So that is what I feel like is one of the great things we can do to support our brothers and sisters who are getting killed. Whether they were orange, brown, octagon, it doesn't matter. Human rights is human rights. That's what I feel.
That's it? You don't have anything else?
I wish there was a movement per se. I know that when it comes to his child publicly, when we are often told that
he was crying about $13,000 a month.
He was He was saying, I want to see my baby.
Yeah, he had a shirt.
He kept on saying, I want to see my baby. And so I have to give props on that aspect of it, because how often do we have the narrative where you have another black man who has a child and you don't see him saying,
are trying to stop us from building our garage with an apartment over it.
why?
Because they feel like we're gonna Airbnb it out or rent it to people. So like, exactly, that's my whole thing is like, that's such elitism where you feel like, oh well, only certain people should be in my area or around me, and that's bullshit. It's like, if I wanted to do whatever, it's my property, one, and two, how dare you try to say who can live in our community.
Let me match it off. Is that okay, Mom?
That's why we building that shit anyway. First.
The only reason why I can see the whole Airbnb situation is because you don't have control over you. As the host, you don't have control over what kind of character or person.
You do.
You know?
Because your price point, I tell people who do Airbnb, your price point sometimes will determine, because I know when I stay certain places.
Oh, but here I am talking about people and their names, and you talking about if I charge $80,000, I might see a certain type of person.
If you charge, if you rent the whole space and you charge $30, I'm asking, what's wrong with this space? Because I'm like, it's gotta be some roaches or rats kicking it in there for you to charge $30.
Come on now.
I mean, because it's like knowing your worth. And my coworker who does Airbnb, she keeps saying like, people come and smoking in her house when her rules are no smoking, they rolling weed, they having extra people come, they messing up her
How much
house.
is she charging a night?
Like $45.
Well, why?
That's what I asked her, why? Because in the area, it's like...
I just said this though, and you just
No,
condemned
I did
me.
not. In the area, it's more expensive, so it's like if I want to be in this area and it's cheaper, a lot of people are gonna look and be
So
like,
if she like in the middle of Midtown and charging $45 a night, then you think it's a crack house, no shit.
That's what I'm saying. When you think it, when all the other places around you are like $80 to $90 a night, and you charging $45,
there's something that I can either get away with, or there's something wrong with this place.
Right.
I agree.
You know, so it sends a certain message.
All right. What's going on, world? Thank you guys for tuning in to ACONNECTIONTV, the network. The one channel on YouTube where we actually adopt similar connections to spot our differences, and welcome to Culture Clubb. Like we do on every episode, we're going to reintroduce ourselves from our right to our left. State your name, and I just had it in my freaking head what I was, your dream vacation. State your name and your dream vacation.
I am Larry, and my dream vacation is a week on the Gold Coast.
Okay. I am Wesley, and a dream vacation for me would be a week in Paris.
Oh, yeah, j'adore Paris. My name is Olivia, and my dream vacation would be a week in half and half. A week in the Maldives, and then a week in the Seychelles.
My name is Christian, and my dream vacation would be a week in New Zealand. I just think it's really pretty there.
So there is, I'm kind of late. No, not kind of. I am late. I am about 7 weeks late to the party. that everybody's been talking about for forever and a day. And what I'm referencing is the phenomenon that is the show Insecure. Everybody has been telling me to watch Insecure since it started, and for whatever reason, I just could not connect with the first episode of season 1. I was looking, I'm like, okay, Issa, okay, cool. She's we need to celebrate her because she's coming from YouTube and she's breaking boundaries and making history and blah, blah, blah. Issa, it's an album, it's a style, it's a that. Okay, I'm like, I don't get it. I'm watching the first episode and I'm like, okay, she's rapping in the mirror, she sucks. What is this? Oh, broken pussy. Oh, this is whack. What type of writing is this bullshit? So I stopped. I was like, fuck Insecure season 2. I don't know why. Y'all are on crack cocaine because it's a black show and y'all just want to support it because it's black. This is me and my ignorant thoughts. I can admit that I was ignorant in my thoughts. And so I'm chilling with somebody and they throw on Insecure. I'm annoyed because I have to watch this shit again. We get through episode 1. I still didn't like the episode. We get to episode 2. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Oh, wow. All right. Okay, I can relate now. Okay. And so episode 2 made me want to watch episode 3. By the time I got through episode 3, I was like, there is no way I cannot watch the rest of this fucking season. So I binge watched season 1, season 2 in 2 days. And baby, when I tell you Insecure has gotten my entire life together, I am so thrilled and completely elated at the fact that Issa is doing what she is doing, and working with the people that she's deciding to work with. The people that were on the YouTube show is on the actual show. Like, she is doing amazing things. The writing, phenomenal. You can definitely relate to all of the characters. And it just taught me some things about myself because honestly, I think I'm Molly. So I was able to actually look at myself on camera and I was just like, what the fuck, Wes, are you really like that? I was like, wow, you need to really switch up, bruh. Like, stop. I love Insecure. You need to watch Insecure.
Yeah, I know.
You really need to watch.
Someone like you. Stop it, because I haven't seen it. I don't watch TV, but I
would really like Insecure.
Okay,
seriously.
Cool.
But how do you guys feel about Insecure?
You wanna go first?
You're not like Molly. You're more like Amanda Seales' character.
Who is Amanda Seales?
Like in real life, y'all, he's more like he's more like her. Amanda Seales.
The bougie chick?
Yes.
I'm not Elizabeth. I am not Elizabeth at all. I have some bougie tendencies, but I am not Elizabeth at all.
Molly is way more reckless. You're not that reckless.
I am okay, well, go ahead.
You're not Molly.
Why do you like the show?
I love the show because it basically is just like miseducation, the misadventures of a awkward black girl, right? So it's basically just Issa grew up. And this is now, Insecure is just like the kind of like the bridge. So the whole rapping in the mirror, like if you watch Misadventures of an Awkward Black Girl, that's what she used to do too. So it's like, it carried on.
Okay.
The writing is great. I think as a black woman, it was good to see a lot of black women who actually were presented on television, like real, authentic, three-dimensional. You don't see just like, oh, this is this one and this is that one. Like, there's so much complexities to them. Like, I very much enjoy the show. I was kind of conflicted in season 2 about what was going on between her and Lawrence. I was just like, this is, but it's real. It's more authentic. So,
and that's what I say too. I think the complexity, like some issues in life seem so simple from the outside looking in, but it's so complex and it's so layered. And I think like they do a really good job of capturing like the layeredness and complexity of life. It's just, some things just aren't black and white. It's just not that simple. We were talking about
how I want Issa to get hit by a motherfucking truck because I don't feel no pity for her. I don't feel bad for her.
Why?
She cheated on a beautiful ass man, Lawrence, just so we could put you up on game. So okay.
This is what he was saying when I was coming in.
We're going to explain it to you a little bit. So Lawrence everybody on the show is beautiful. Okay? Period. Lawrence is a black man living with Issa.
who ain't had no job.
Let me
Square.
Hold on, wait a second. So that's the couple in the show. And Lawrence has this dream app that he wants to create, and and he's really for it, and Issa's backing him and like, baby, I'll support you. Go ahead and go for your dreams. For 3 years, Lawrence hasn't made the app happen, and Lawrence, at this particular point in the show where we catch up to everything, is not working.
He wasn't working for quite some time.
Yeah.
And so Issa is the financial backbone.
Only caregiver in the household.
Okay.
And it's dirty. And the house is dirty.
Okay. And so yeah, he doesn't.
Right, no dinner.
He doesn't cook.
And
that
you're not
much.
having
No.
sex.
Okay.
And you're watching TV.
And you're watching TV. Every time she comes home, you sitting in front of the TV just killing it.
And you're talking about an app.
And basically what they're doing now is giving you all of the reasons why Issa cheated on him with her ex. Because for y'all to be mentioning all this, it's like
you have to give space to it.
Right,
It's complex.
It's complex because what it is, it's like
about
he wasn't fulfilling her needs emotionally,
Anywhere.
and
Emotionally, physically,
or
financially.
So it's like I'm carrying you, and it comes to a point where it's like, okay, I do love you, and she clearly does love him, but it's like I still love you and I want to be with you, but I have needs. I can't be pouring out and not having someone pour back into me.
Over.
You know, and I think the ex just represented somebody who
Sounds
poured
good.
into
I'm gonna have to see it.
Yeah.
For my own opinion.
But I mean, literally, like, how would you feel about that? If you're sitting here chasing your acting career and it's not working out the way that you would love the dream job to work out, and you have someone that you're with and y'all been together for a couple years, and then all of a sudden he comes home and he's like, babe, I just slept with someone. Like, is any of it okay? And it's not okay.
We never said it was
We just said it's okay, but
y'all just like, girl, we understand you and it's okay.
You can understand something, but then still be like, well, it's not okay, but I do understand how you got there.
yeah, it's like I understand how she got there, where it's like it's not okay that she cheated, but it's not okay that he's not been working for 3 years,
Right.
and she's been supporting him, and he's not giving.
Well,
I get.
They do.
This is the thing. I can't really condemn or support whatever it is because it is a show. At the end of the
It's
day,
real life.
And,
That's real life.
That's real life. That's a real life situation now.
okay, well, if it's real life, then we can't judge it. Then we just have to accept it as real life. Why are we questioning real life?
Oh no!
Because what he just said didn't make any sense. That's what we do on the show. We question real life. So, but the thing is, it's like, this show in itself can carry on an hour conversation because there's so many things that happens on the show. And honestly, I feel that cheating is not the best option or should not be an option if you call yourself representing love or representing the goodness of a relationship. If there are problems happening in the relationship, you guys should communicate about these problems so that you can both try to resolve it so that the problems can go away. If you decide to have a particular situation where, okay, it is what it is, and oh, I messed up, okay, great, now I feel like shit, and now I got to tell the person that I'm with that I messed up, okay. Like when she did that, when she, because mind you, the man is fine as hell who she slept with, the motherfucker is fine as hell. And they connected on that music tip because this is something that Lawrence is lacking. Lawrence doesn't have that music connection that Issa loves, and she's not the greatest.
But he didn't have any connection right there at all.
Hold on. I'm talking about watching the show now. I'm not talking about their background history because I don't know what they do off the show. I'm saying when I watch, listen, hold on 1 second. When I watched the show, there was no musical connection between Lawrence and Issa. And there was nothing displayed.
There was no musical connection between Issa and.
It was because they was in the studio.
They were just in the studio because she was watching him because he's a producer.
And he supported her with the rapping. When she played the rap for Lawrence, Lawrence was like, it's
that's not really how they connected. No. That's not really a connection.
That's not how you see. So you saying she basically slept with him because what? Why did she sleep with him at that particular moment?
She was unfulfilled in her current situation.
I don't think that was the only reason though. I
don't think it was just a music connection. They might have had a music connection to the piece you're saying, but I think it was like her and Lawrence weren't connected at any point at all. It was just like they were coexisting.
Exactly.
Where that connection just wasn't there.
Like me,
and she tried. And she tried to talk about it before But it's like, okay, well, I don't want to hurt his feelings and make him feel defensive about, not working because that's sensitive.
All I'm saying is that I did not feel remotely bad for Issa when she had the walk of shame going back to the house and then letting Lawrence know what she did. And the acting is phenomenal. Chris, you really need to watch the show. The acting is phenomenal because the particular scene where he found out and his reaction to it, I was like, oh my God, it was so good. But do you want Issa and Lawrence to get back together? And if so, why?
No. I don't know. I don't know yet until I see all of the way that this is going to materialize. I love the fact that in season 2, she ended on trying to get her own shit together. I loved her going through her whole phase. I love that. She needed to go through her whole phase to just kind of figure out who she is, what she wants to do, whether she could be with Lawrence. There's potential there. I need to see the writing and see how that story develops to see what's going to happen. But for right now, in that space, no. She needs to continue to get to know herself.
Yeah, I agree with Olivia, and I'll say this: there's also it's physical cheating, but there's also emotional cheating, which Lawrence was doing with the girl at the bank prior to the fact that he waited for her in the line when the teller was like, "Can I help you?" and he was like, "No, I'm waiting for her." You're waiting for her because y'all have
going to lunches and stuff.
After the fact.
But they didn't fuck.
That was
They was going to lunch. That was before. They went to lunch before.
Yeah,
Here and again, we're offering excuses.
Not excuses, but I'm saying it's like that's a real thing when you're getting emotionally satisfied.
I know you know that's a real thing. I know you know that's a real thing.
What's a real thing?
You said before that you don't have to have sex with somebody for there to be things that you feel like is just, off the table or part of cheating or is not cool.
Yeah.
Right. So thank you.
So like building those relationships. I mean, it was like it's small pieces, but it's there. Like if you really watch, and that's what makes the show so great because they have these nuances that are underlying. That you just, cause you could tell that she was so into him, like your app is gonna be amazing, and tell me more about it.
And she supported him, and that's what you should do to the person that you're with. Support them.
But
Chris, try me because I know you can talk about this topic. You should.
I don't know how. I don't know. Y'all mentioning nothing.
No, everything that we're talking about is
patient and be graceful over here because they chose to speak about a topic that I ain't know shit about. So I'm just gonna be present and
I didn't mention a couple days.
Talk about me.
I didn't mention a couple days.
Crazy on the end.
Like, why did you watch Insecure? Why nobody provide links? Why nobody provide no links? If you gonna speak about it for a quarter of the whole episode, you know how much I can do in 15 minutes. So, do you think that there is a reason for cheating to occur in a situation? You can speak on that topic.
No, I feel like cheating is like, I don't know, like I guess like Olivia said, you can understand how someone can get to that situation, but I mean at the end of the day, it's like, you make an investment, and until you're like, I guess at some point ready to withdraw on your investment, like I don't know, I feel like, that's just how I feel. I don't know.
Do you feel that cheating is warranted?
That is an unfair question.
Oh Lord, here we go again.
It's an unfair question.
Just answer the question.
I don't think there's just too much complexities that happen inside of relationships that I cannot just wholly say yes
so
or no.
you're coming
It's not
from a
black or
stance
white.
that it can be forgiven and forgotten about.
Yes, it definitely can be
so
forgiven.
So we can move past the cheating.
If the two people who are in the relationship have set boundaries, have communicated in certain ways, have had those kind of discussions, I absolutely think that is possible.
Okay. I would agree because I've gone through it before, and I mentioned on the last video, the boyfriend I was with cheated on me for a year and blah blah blah, and ended up coming back with HIV and yada yada yada, and I still tried to stay with him. So I believe that in a relationship you can have situations that occur or particular issues that occur, and you can move through it if communication is there and both parties are willing to move through it. I just think the way that Issa did it, I wasn't team Issa after the fact. I was team Lawrence after the fact. I'm just saying.
I don't understand why.
I'm not team. I don't separate them because it's like a.
We're moving along.
Oh,
I think
Lord.
I don't think that part made me. I see where she's real, and it's just like the fact that she came home and said, "Look, this is what happened," because she didn't have to. She could have came home and went to bed and been like, "Next day, next hour, let's move forward." You know, so she was honest about it, and I do think that.
Well, he kind of did catch her though. He was figuring.
Well, yeah, he was
technically.
We saw later. Yeah.
It's not like she came right home.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, it's true. But I mean, you know, it's like I feel like. Relationships are so complex, like Olivia was saying. I mean, and I'm not just agreeing with Olivia too.
No, it's fine. No, it's good.
But I do believe that there's so many things that happen in a relationship between two people that as outsiders we can't judge, not knowing everything. So it's like relationships aren't perfect. People aren't perfect. Like you look at marriages who last 50 and 60 and 70 years. There was a lot of infidelity where you got kids out of wedlock and everything else, but it's like we made a choice to build a life together. So if we're building a life together, what do we need to do to make this successful?
So Chris, another thing that occurs in this show, or another dynamic that is exploited in this show, is the relationships between men and women, the friendships that exist in today's world. And there's 4 females, Issa, Molly, Elizabeth, and the funny thick girl.
Yeah,
I can't remember her name. Tiffany? Is it Tiffany? I can't remember her name.
No.
Their friendship is so hilarious because they literally, there's 4 of them, and Issa and Molly are cooler together, and Elizabeth and Tiffany, or the thick girl, are cooler together. But they're 4 friends. And so like, you and Olivia may tell each other everything, but me and Larry will tell each other everything, and y'all won't know. But we always come together, and we always have a good energy. So the next topic that I want to talk about is throughout the show, there are instances where Issa and Molly, the 2 main friendships that are exploited on the show, go back and forth with each other, letting each other know about themselves. And so my question is, as a friend, how are you able to talk to your friend and let them know when they fucked up? Because Issa did cheat, and she explained it to Molly, and Molly was looking at her like, girl,
Bitch, you fucked up.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And then on the flip side, Molly, later on in the show, is dealing with a guy who has an open marriage situation, and she's fucking the guy. And so Issa's like, girl, you shouldn't really be doing that. Should you really be doing that? So how do you deal with your friendship and dynamics? Are you always bold and blunt with your friends and are able to articulate how you feel about any and everything with your friends?
Well, yeah, I found myself in this situation where we were talking and telling each other about ourselves or whatever. Like, I'm the type of person, y'all already know. I would rather base an argument based on what you said, what I heard you already say, what I know to be true about you, than any outside situation. So I'm going to always pull from your archives as a friend. And I would personally, like, I would tell my friend, like, about themselves. Like, I wouldn't have no cut cards about it. If you're friends with me, then that's the most friendliest thing I can do, is give you some honesty. Truth hurts, you know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, like, friends are going to tell you things in a way that sounds good to them coming out of their mouth so that they can be okay with it. Because they'll be like, well, you know, he did this, he did that. And it's just like, you already know. Listen to yourself. I know you. You don't want to be in a situation. You don't like this. You don't like this behavior. Remember when someone said this and that? And then they be like, oh, true. But what I will say is a step further. You can get them into that space where they're like, you right. But are they going to do what you say?
No.
That's a whole nother battle.
Right.
So,
what do you guys feel about the friendship that's exploited and the way that Issa and Molly attacked each other when they were called out on their ish, especially at that fundraising party, and they really went in on each other?
It was expected. Mm-hmm. It was bubbling up. You saw that was expected. It was authentic, because they're all dealing with their own stressors, and then now they're bringing it in, and now they're being called on each other's stuff. My thing is, when we're talking about just like what Chris was talking about just now, my friends give it to me straight, no chaser. My friends would just be like, no bitch,
That's what you did. And so you want some ice cream? Like it is what it is. You ready now? Can we move on? And I'm usually the one probing, like, so do you think I should? No, I think you real stupid. I think you fucked up. I think you did this. So, whoa, like, stop. Like, that's usually the engagement. So it kind of looked like, because, you know, as humans, we want to make allowances for what we're doing, or not really feel like what we did that was wrong was really wrong. We don't want to really face that. We want to be like, it wasn't that bad. No, yes it was, bitch. It was that bad. Right? So I feel like it was authentic because, especially with my friendships with other black women, that we hold you accountable for your stuff. But when we're out in public, it's so interesting that I will be defended. So I'll have one of my good girlfriends who will tell me, like, I am the worst thing in the world. Bitch, I can't believe you did da-da-da-da. And I will get beat up. But then let some other bitch say something to me, she'll be like, well, she did it because blah, blah, blah. So I will be defended, you know, in public. But behind closed doors, I'll be ripped apart.
I thought that was very interesting because that actually happened when they were all in the jacuzzi, the 4 girls. And you could see where the alliance lied. Between Issa and Molly, and that's how kind of like they reconnected again and became cool when Molly drove Issa's ass back to the house and Lawrence wasn't there. That's what you get, Issa. That's what you get. Lawrence wasn't there.
No, they probably have to figure it out by now.
Yeah,
well, Chris,
I really don't think it's funny. No, I really don't. It's not funny. Like, why would you have a topic that you know that you cannot even say anything on? No, I'm serious. Like, it's not funny.
Chris is gonna watch the show and he's gonna understand.
You know what's so funny? People talk about being rude and talk about, like, you know, but that's not cool to laugh at that. But we do it when it's convenient for us.
Oh.
So,
Chris,
it's a wash.
Would you ever have an open marriage?
I don't think so. I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could do it.
Why not?
Because I feel like if I did, it would be under the premise that I had tried not to, and so then I settled for an open marriage because I just don't see that as like. I remember I asked a couple at a party one time and they got real pissed because I liked, you know, throwing something in, and I was like, "Are you guys in an open relationship because you tried to have a monogamous relationship and it wasn't working?" So then you fell back on it, or was that something that you were always open to? And I can't remember what the answer was. I remember they were upset. So remember, you won't remember what people say, but you remember how they make you feel. So I mean, for me, I feel like I would like to like try the whole monogamous thing, and if I ended up in an open relationship, it would be because I kind of like digressed into that. So I guess no.
Would you be able to have an open marriage because you're married?
Maybe. It just depends. As time goes on, people change and you grow and you grow together. So it's like, it's not like, you sometimes you have to shift things and reflect and be like, okay, is this working for us? If it's not, then like sex to me is a really small part of our relationship. You know, like, we are financially sound because we make good decisions together as partners. You know, we make good life decisions together. So we're both, as far as our education and everything else, as far as taking care of our families and everything else. So all of these different things, there's different nuances that trump just sex to me. So it's like I can have amazing sex with a person, but not be able to laugh. We don't have the same interests. Like, you don't intrigue me. Whereas my husband intrigues me, like his it's just different things about him that just intrigues me as a person, which keeps me going. Like we've been together 7 years, and it's like after so long, like, you try different things and do different things, but I think like I'm still intrigued and I'm still interested in him as a person. You feel me? So like the sex, if it comes to a point where we're not having sex or we don't have sex anymore, that doesn't mean I'm gonna stop loving him or I need to be with someone else. It might just mean like, hey, well, we need to find some different options. Just like if your mate was to get like a disease where they couldn't have sex, or like if they had cancer, really bad cancer in their bodies, just couldn't take having sex, would you just divorce them and go be with somebody else because they can't have sex?
Mm-hmm.
So then that would, I guess, bring upon the conversation about having an open marriage, because
you gonna need sex.
You need sex. I don't know. Some people can be in a relationship and just not have sex. I don't understand how that works. It doesn't work that way for me. Sex is very important to me. But I don't know. It just would depend on where I'm at that particular time in life, and how I feel at that particular time as a person. Could you handle an open marriage?
I sure could. Everything that Larry said.
Oh, okay.
I sure could.
All right.
I'm not saying I could handle an open marriage the day after we got married.
Right. You're like, why are we here?
I'm not saying immediately after we got married, but I am saying like as we've grown, it's basically, there's no need to talk because Larry just said everything of how I feel. Like my partnership is outside of just the sex aspect. It is all of those things. Can you make me laugh? Can you intrigue me? You know, about marriages, bitch. Tamar and Vince.
I don't know why.
What?
They're getting a divorce.
Yes, but then listening to, now we had heard it all rumors, we had heard the rumors about how he's been beating her ass for years.
Oh, really?
But I never knew that it was like real, and it became real when Miss Evelyn was like, keep your hands off my daughter and you're gonna kill her. And I was like, good Lord. Yes. So.
I didn't know that.
But apparently he's got a girlfriend that's out in Atlanta. I don't know if that was Tia just spoke. Okay. It was.
I did too, so.
Okay.
Okay. I mean,
that one that they knew about, like together, collectively.
I would just say that it's very sad when, when you think of, when I think of marriage and I think about love being able to carry you through everything and anything, I think of it just lasting because there's a reason why y'all got married. There should be plenty of reasons why you got married to this particular person. So when things shift and it becomes physical, or it becomes hurtful, it's sad because it's like, damn, like you thought you were going to be with this person for forever and now things are dissolving, and especially it's public now that things are dissolving. I didn't know anything about Vince harming her physically. I didn't even see that as being a part of like evident from her personality in the way that she puts on all of the time.
I can see that.
I would never in a million years think that she would have any remote problems behind the scenes.
Yep.
So for something that catastrophic to be occurring and we know nothing about it, she's a great actress, and it sucks because it really puts you in the mind frame of that's how I have to be. I have to put on all the time. And that could be damaging in itself internally for her to have to always hide and to always put on and be so extra. But I feel bad for her.
I think that's also living a dialectic. I think that oftentimes people who have her kind of personality, and I would liken my personality to her personality, being like, a lot of people don't realize that the ad that you see is not a 24-hour thing. That is when I'm, out with my friends having a good time. The majority of who I am behind closed doors is I don't want anybody to call me, talk to me. I turn my phone off and I have wonderful me time. Me and my me, we are wonderful. We love me. And I'm quiet. I would prefer not to talk to people. I prefer for people not to talk to me. I just kind of go in my space. I liken a lot of people who are like a Tamar do that. They take a lot, like let's look at it like even like Beyonce. Beyonce put a name to it. She called it Sasha Fierce. But if you look at Beyonce, she's a very quiet, meek kind of individual who's just like, I'm just in my own zone, I'm chilling. And you see her on stage, she's like twirling her hair, It's not a persona per se. It is a part of who you are. It is at what time do I want to let it out. And it doesn't have to be 24/7, which is the same way that we can see people who are normally quiet oftentimes aren't always quiet. They can turn up as well. So it's a balance.
We earlier before this episode started taping, I talked about one of the situations that occurs in the show Insecure, where there's kind of like a combat between a white employee and a black employee, and they're supposed to be supporting education and learning for people with disabilities, and they go to schools and they try to assist these people. Well, one of the situations that occurs is they go to a school where the principal is pro-black on every situation, and he wants to see the black kids get the support that they need before the Hispanics kids, because there's a high Hispanic population and a high black population. So the problem comes up where Issa is only in support of, well, she's not only in support of teaching the blacks, but she supports that concept because she excludes the Hispanics in learning and becoming better. She did. And so my question to the panel is, can black people be racist? Because the combat is between the two. Here we go. The combat is between Issa and her white employee. It was problematic for the white employee to speak against what Issa was doing and supporting only blacks and not allowing Hispanics to come into class. And so her question to Issa as a black female is, oh, so you can't be racist and you don't see what's happening here. You're not allowing the Hispanics to come in. The Hispanics need to come in here too. And Issa's like, no, I'm not racist. I just need to support where I need to support. And I'm like, that's the burning question that I want to talk about now. Because earlier I made mention of hiring when I was a manager at a retail company. I would only hire, well, I'm not gonna say I would only hire, but a deterrent for me hiring you was your name. And hearing it again, can black people be racist? Here we are talking about what we're gonna put on pricing for an Airbnb. Well, if you charge higher, we might not get people who smoke weed or do this or do that to the party. That's pretty much what y'all were saying.
Racism.
But that's what y'all were saying. So it's a certain demographic. There's a certain demographic that you don't want to be in an Airbnb. So I said a lot. I'll start with you.
Yeah, well, when you say,
can black people be racist, and explain?
I don't think well, when you have to define racism for a certain thing.
Define it by
well, so I think racism is bigotry coupled with power. So if my privilege and my power, my bigotry, like I can deter, so just like I can keep you from not getting a job because you're black or you're brown or Hispanic or whatever, and I don't like black or brown people, and I'm the hiring manager and I don't hire you, that is racist. I mean, that is a form of racism. But a lot of what we're talking about is you don't have the power. Like for Issa in that situation, she wasn't the one making the decision. The principal was making the decision saying, if you do, you can't be here. So she was saying, I want to help somebody, so instead of me trying to stand up and fight him and he kick us out, I'm gonna work this how I can and try to brainstorm. And so the girl was telling her, well, you need to stand up to him because, you know, he's being racist. And she's like, well, I want to help some better than none. And you know, and that's kind of where she was coming from. It was paved on good intention. She didn't want to not help the Latino kids. And then it was interesting how they kind of started it out where they like took all the snacks. They came in first and they were happy to see him, and then they took and ran out or whatever. So that was like setting the scene to try to make it more complex.
I just think it's an extreme double standard with black people and white people, and what black people can do and what white people can't do, because we see it as this way. And so the behavior of, like with me and looking at the names and all of that, I agree that it was the best thing to do. It was wrong. And I'm not saying it was right at all, but I just feel like I don't feel like I'm entitled or that I can't be called a racist or.
Oh, so you're a racist. So you're a racist. Are you a racist? Is that?
Can you let me finish?
Okay. I just want to make sure that.
Just let me finish.
Are you a racist?
I can see how that behavior would make someone look at me. And so.
No, call yourself the racist or not. Do you think that you are? I am a racist because I did not do blah blah blah.
No.
Well, I think it could be an action that's racism, but it doesn't make you.
Why don't you think you're a racist?
Because I already know that I'm not.
What makes you not be a racist though?
Listen.
What makes you not be a racist?
Listen,
No.
Chris,
what
do you
makes
think I'm a
not be
racist?
No, we're not worried about what Chris
No, because
thinks.
Chris.
We're worried about what you think about yourself.
Chris, do you think I'm a racist by
No.
not hiring people based on their name?
I don't think you're racist, but I think that you are jaded in your view. I think that, it's got you have a skewed view. I mean, if you think that a name defines someone, then, that's a problem because names clearly do not. We wouldn't have Barack Obama if names define people.
But why do you think he's not a racist?
I think, I was just saying earlier, I feel like the verbiage needs to really be, at least we need to establish a definition, or we need to understand what types of racism we're talking from, because we already know that you take the stance of systemic racism, and what he's, where other people may be coming from may not be from a systemic view, but the reality
But
is...
racism is a social construct, so I don't understand what other view could you take it from.
Okay, so if someone is a principal and they hold that bit of power, then everything under that umbrella is going to be dictated by how they feel about whatever they feel about. So if it comes down to skin color, the actions that they're making are based on what? What's the word? Starts with an R. You don't
I
know?
don't understand what you mean.
If a principal is making decisions on the school or the kids based on the color of their skin, then he's basing it on what?
Prejudice.
But see,
The color of their skin is prejudice.
but I think it goes to like from moving from
I
and a
digress.
guy. It's a like
Because I
4-minute
thought we
video.
were different races.
We're not different races. This whole idea that Latinas or Hispanics, that came about in the 60s. That's not a race. Race is a social construct all in itself. So we're not a different race. Like my father is from Cuba. So I am a Latina. When you see me, I'm black. So which box do I go in? Right, that part. There's no such thing. Like there's more people who look like me in Cuba than there are people who look closer to his complexion or white people. So racism is ridiculous when we're talking about
Well, if you want to go
Hispanics
there,
or anything like that. This is dumb.
If you want to go there,
it's a social
first of all,
construct. There's no such thing as white. There's no such thing as white.
Okay,
At all.
so Cuba and black people and stuff like that has nothing to do with race. That's all the same race.
You just
okay?
sat here and said it.
But I didn't say nothing about
We're talking
Cuba.
about the
color
Hispanics.
of their skin. So if someone is from Cuba or someone is black, at the end of the day, that person is not making a decision based on the example that you
The
gave.
example is that they
Why
met
did
in
you bring up
prejudice.
Cuba? Why did you bring up Cuba
Because
as black
it's a
argument when I
Hispanic
talked about the color of the
country.
skin? No, we're talking
you
about.
just said the principal made a decision. Am I lying?
Let me tell you.
Am I
Let me tell you
lying?
something. Let me tell y'all something, okay? Let me tell y'all something. It does not matter how you choose to identify yourself when you walk down the street. If you look like a black man or a black woman, or you come from Cuba or the Dominican Republic, you're gonna get treated like a black person.
That's my
So
point.
at the end of the day, when I form my point, let's be clear. When a principal has dictating decisions based on the color of someone's skin, not on the background, at the end of the day, we would consider that in a socially acceptable form of discussion, form that is based on race, okay?
No, we wouldn't.
So if someone is black or someone is Hispanic, what if the Hispanic person is actually black at the end
That's
of the
my
day?
point.
No,
No, so I'm gonna say
You're not racist.
I'm gonna say I vibe completely with what Chris is saying because when I was looking at that, I was like, okay, like really, what are you doing? We just sat here and said that a form of racism stems from privilege and power, and you being able to make a decision on someone's existence, so to speak. And so I looked up the definition, and it didn't say what y'all are saying. So at the end of the day,
He's a racist, not racism.
Thank you.
anyway, we're talking about whether or not he's a racist. So let me look up racism. Since y'all want to be y'all want to hold on 1 second. We're gonna look it up real
It's a social
quick.
construct.
Prejudice,
It's all right.
discrimination, or antagonism directed against someone of a different race based on the belief that one's own race is superior. Okay. So, anyways, like we were saying, I agree with Chris. I don't think I'm a racist. I didn't know what race.
But you have
Hold on.
power. So based on this definition,
No, I'm not. Thank you.
Well,
Thank
you're
you.
right. I don't
'Cause
agree
this
with the
is
fact
not-
that you're
this-
racist because
this
you
is
don't
not-
have.
This is not a different. I'm not. When I'm looking at their names, I'm not looking at their race. I'm looking at the name.
Lies. You
What? What do
lied.
you
You were
mean?
lying. You know Sharquisha ain't white.
No, I know
Thank you.
Sharquisha may be hood. That's what I'm saying.
No.
And I've met some ghetto named
Sorry,
white folks.
Sharquisha.
I met some ghetto named
White.
white folks, and I met some ghetto named Latino people. So it ain't got nothing to do with the race. It's about what the name and the stereotype of the name.
Let me tell you my issue with this argument, because it's not the first time I've heard it. It's not the first group of people I've been around who've had it. My issue is I feel like sometimes we are eliminating ourselves from responsibility as black people because we're not in a position of systemic power to be able to oppress people based on the color of their skin. But at the end of the day, you should be treating people on the content of their character. Martin Luther King did not make a beautiful speech because he sat up there and talked about the difference between being black and being white. He said that you should judge people based on the content of their character. If that's not something that you're aspiring to do as a person, then I think that is the most problematic thing. And to sit here and try to dictate because of the color of your skin whether you're able or not to do certain things doesn't really do anything for me and doesn't give me a takeaway point for how I should be better as a person.
I think it's a video. It's a guy. It's about 4 minutes, and he talks about this. It's like when you talk to people, it's not saying they are a racist. Saying it's more about the action. Mm-hmm. So like it's more where you can say like, "Yo, that looking at people's name is not cool," and let me tell you why. Instead of me saying you're a racist and you shouldn't do that, are you gonna be more receptive to me? If it's about change and making change in the world, I think it's like bringing attention to the action because it's easy to explain why an action is not okay, but then you can't prove that someone's a racist. I can't prove he's a racist because just like he said, I looked at the name. I don't know their race. That's a valid. I mean, that's valid. But it's like, hey, it's not okay because what you do is shut out people who are qualified. And you might be disenfranchising a whole group of people based on their God-given, like their names. They didn't choose them. They were kind of born into that.
And what I found to be most effective is when I watch people who posture their arguments along the line of just, comparing and contrasting something without putting race in there and being able to say, oh, like I saw there was a Instagram video really quick. This lady was at she was like in a meeting hall or something, and she was talking about how they introduced opioids into the announce a national health crisis or whatever. But then here we've had drugs that were introduced into the black community, and all these people were locked up, families were torn apart and stuff. And so now when you have a non-white group or when you have a group from a different demographic, that's what she said, who is dealing with a drug issue, then you now it's an actual issue. And where's the restorative package for all those people who had their families ripped apart and all those other things? Where is that package side of the deal for the same issue? I find that to be so much more powerful. For instance, even if anyone's seen Fences, when Taraji was in the room and she talked about why she had to go to the bathroom and it took her 40 minutes, and the way that she broke it down. Oh yeah, Hidden Figures. When she had the way that she broke that down left everyone stunned. You know what I'm saying? I was stuck. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like being able to kind of articulate the difference in that realm of things is what needs to happen. Everyone from a face value perspective, we can see how people look, but do we really know how they feel? And what's the difference between my circumstance and your circumstance, and the fact that we still have to sit here and do the same exact job?
So my once again, my question requiring a yes or no response is: can black people be racist? Chris.
Racist. I think in some circumstances you can. That's my opinion. I think in some if a black person holds enough power.
Barack Obama had the leadership of the free world.
He had leadership, but he didn't have like
power. Exactly my point. So who does have power if that man didn't have power? My point. Okay. So you clearly know I say no.
So Chris is saying yes. Olivia is saying no. I am saying yes. We can. Yes, we can.
I think you can make decisions based on race that negatively affect groups of people. Now, I feel like that person, their power, that group that has to have already not had power, the difference between what you said with the blacks and the Hispanics versus the blacks and the whites is that the Hispanics are also a minority and who are still, struggling to find power within themselves as well. So I think in that regard, yes, you can. Can black people be racist to groups that are, I don't know the word, more disparaging in circumstances?
We don't have any more privilege. We can be prejudiced, but we cannot be racist. We don't have any more privilege.
Well, this is my opinion, Olivia. So I feel like for me,
it's unfortunate.
For me, what's unfortunate is that I can't have an opinion on my own.
You can. I'm saying it's unfortunate that this is where we are in 2017. This is unfortunate that we're still having this discussion, that we're not on the same page about this. That is what is unfortunate. I'm not saying your opinion is unfortunate. I'm thinking the fact that we have the verity, this myriad of this is unfortunate that we are here. That this is 2017. And we are here, and we're still not on the same page.
No, we don't have to be on the same page. We have to be able to open up the narrative so that it can be discussed.
You can't open up the narrative.
You can. You have to have.
Okay, y'all gonna go back and forth. At the end of the day, Chris,
this show would be so boring if everyone agreed. Okay,
it would definitely be. Yes. But I do agree.
People wish that it would.
I do agree with Chris because you can.
Okay.
Black people can be in places of power and flex their power, since we're just talking about power.
And when has it happened?
Do you think black people can be racist?
No, I don't.
Okay. So there we go. We're completely split. Isn't that beautiful? Oh my God. I want you guys to do me a favor. Leave comments underneath this particular episode and let me know what you thought about this episode. We've talked about a little bit of a lot. If for whatever reason, like Chris, you have not watched Insecure, you need to watch Insecure. It is an amazing show, and it can give you so much to talk about. Like when he nutted in her face and she was so upset because he nutted in her face.
Yes.
But you're giving him a blowjob, so why can't you expect the nut to hit your face? We can talk about that on another episode. But anyways, love y'all. Stay blessed.
But your type might not be working for you.
That's what I grabbed from the verbiage that he just said.
I feel like what he's saying is like your type might not be working for you. You keep going after this same type and it never works, and you keep trying the same thing just because it's coming in a different body. It's like you're doing the same exact type, and that was for me. Like I was dating the same type before I got married, and my husband was not my type. He's actually not, and it doesn't mean I'm not attracted to him. It just means like what I naturally show attention to with certain people in certain spaces that I occupied, and that wasn't working because our dynamics just weren't working well, and I had to step back and say, you know what? Though I find these type of people attractive, they don't work for me long term. So I have to find what works.
But you are attracted to your husband. All right. So at the end of the day, they're ultimately your type because you're attracted.
No, let me tell you something. This leads me to.
Oh Lord, here we go.
This leads me to one of my favorite Lauryn Hill lyrics. She says, "What you want might make you cry. What you need may pass you by if you don't catch it."